So if you are someone who is concerned about cancer, you have to add broccoli sprouts to your diet. The other big one for me is arugula. Now, guys, remember what I said. It increases your blood flow.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that. But
No,
guys,
no,
it
I heard it.
increases your blood flow. That's all I'm gonna
Hey,
say. So
the
eat
ladies will
your
be happy to hear
arugula.
that too.
That's right.
The
Eat
ladies will be
your
happy to hear that.
arugula.
Hmm. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Brewer Report. This is another day where we'll be sharing our knowledge regarding all things health and nutrition. Today's topic is going to be all about cruciferous vegetables. And we are going to talk about one of the superfoods of cruciferous vegetables, and that is broccoli sprouts. We'll get to that a little later. But first, I would like to thank all of our new subscribers. We hit a milestone. We are at over 100 subscribers, and we're a new channel, so that is absolutely amazing that we have over 100 subscribers. And if you are new to this channel, I strongly encourage you to also subscribe. And as always, if you're a current subscriber or a new subscriber, please like and comment. It really helps get our videos out there in the algorithm. Our previous video on hibiscus tea did really well. And we just want to continue to be seen so that we can share the information that we have so other people can stay informed. But like I said, today we are talking about cruciferous vegetables. And as always, with everything we talk about, always talk to your healthcare providers. We are not here to tell you that there are cures. Everything is usually just a possible prevention for different diseases that you may be dealing with or what have you. But always talk to your health provider about anything that we're talking about. This you know your diet, you know your allergies. But let's get going. So cruciferous vegetables, we see them all the time when you go to the grocery store, in the produce section where you should be shopping the most, in the fresh produce section. You've seen broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale. The list goes on when it comes to cruciferous vegetables. But what makes cruciferous vegetables so special is the phytochemical that it has, which is sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is, we're going to talk deeper into it. My father will talk deeper into it. But in general, it helps reduce toxins, inflammation in your body. It may help with prevention of cancers. It may help with your eyesight, your brain health, all of those different things. So we'll talk deeper into it. And one thing, we speak a lot about Dr. Greger. Dr. Greger encourages you to eat cruciferous vegetables daily. In fact, his quote is that even just one serving of cruciferous vegetables could cut or prevent the spread of certain cancers by half. I mean, let me say that again, by half. That's amazing. So as far as I'm concerned, eat your cruciferous vegetables every day, eat your salads, stop playing, because that's amazing. If that is indeed the case, I'm sure, according to some studies. But again, talk to your healthcare providers, but that is according to Dr. Greger, that it could possibly help even with the spread of certain cancers. So that's amazing. But let's get to my father. So first question to you, Dad, is explain to us exactly more in depth what sulforaphane is.
Well, sulforaphane is an antioxidant with a lot of health benefits. I mean, it's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, cancer prevention, detox, heart health, etc. But the funny thing about sulforaphane is it does not really exist in the vegetables. It is produced through a chemical process by activating a enzyme called myrosinase, which basically through a series of chemical processes, specifically chewing. When you chew cruciferous vegetables, you
Right.
actually activate the enzyme which produces sulforaphane. And so sulforaphane is sort of that interesting thing and it has a lot of health benefits, as you already mentioned, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, cancer, heart health, immune system, and other benefits. But where it really shines, and this is why Gregor focused on this, is with the cancer prevention. And so we let me just talk about how that happens and let me talk about a couple of things. Um, in order to get that sulforaphane into your system, like I said, you have to chew it. And so basically, as we always say, it's not what you eat, or drink, it's what you absorb. So in order for your body to absorb it, you basically have to activate that enzyme myrosinase. Now let's talk about that for a minute. When you eat regular cooked uh, broccoli, guess what happens? The heat kills the enzyme. Okay. Same thing with kale. Same thing with all of the other vegetables. It kills that enzyme. So in essence, what you have to do is you have to reactivate that enzyme. Now, what they found was raw, if you eat raw and cooked, what happens is the myrosinase is in your gut bacteria. Okay, so even if you eat cooked cruciferous vegetables, which will not produce sulforaphane, when it hits your digestive system, again, goes back to what we talked about with the meat eaters. We said that the meat eaters have, if you eat vegetables, you're going to build up this gut flora with good bacteria, etc. The enzyme still resides in your gut bacteria. So when you eat cooked cruciferous vegetables and it hits your system, it does produce some sulforaphane because the myrosinase enzyme is in your system. Now, it
Okay, well,
doesn't
that's good
produce it.
news.
I know it doesn't produce anywhere near the amount of sulforaphane if you eat it raw.
Okay.
Now let's talk about how you can really work with this. So, what you do is, if it's called chop and wait. If you chop broccoli, if you chop your greens, if you chop all of your cruciferous vegetables and wait about 40 minutes, check this out, 40 minutes, chop it and set it aside, go do your other thing, and then cook it, guess what happens? The myrosinase is activated and you can cook it all. I mean, the myrosinase has activated the sulforaphane and you can cook it all day long. How about that?
Wow, that it's a whole science.
It's a science. It's a science, and
Wow.
it's called food preparation. You know your grandfather. He was a food prep. He knew how to he knew how to fix food. And
Yes.
so a lot, it goes back to what he used to do with his meat. He would soak it overnight and stuff like that. So okay, so bingo. Now you got sulforaphane in your cooked broccoli, your cooked greens, your cooked kale. Okay, because some people can't eat it raw because of the digestive issues. Now, now here's another catch. You can still, if you don't want to do that, you can always add something called mustard seeds, which has the enzyme in it, into your cooked vegetables. And when you do that, you also activate the sulforaphane. So those are two
Amazing.
tips. Now, one last tip, frozen. If you buy frozen broccoli, most likely it has been blanched. In other words, it has been heated. So it will not
Mm.
have the myrosinase or the enzyme in it, okay, because it's
Wow.
been heated out. So what you
Okay.
have to do with frozen broccoli, you have to add the mustard seed powder. You can also add horseradish or what they call Dakin radish. You can add those radishes to it, which has the enzyme. Then that, in essence, will activate the sulforaphane. So that's those are some
Wow.
great on how to eat it. Again, it's not what you eat; it's what you absorb.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that information. I mean, I'm very much positive that most people do not know that particular science. I know a lot of people buy frozen broccoli for sure. Um, I tend to buy frozen broccoli, so now I know to add at least some mustard seed to it to activate the sulforaphane, as you're saying. So let's get a little bit deeper into maybe some of the foods. Like, what are some of the best cruciferous vegetables that people should be incorporating into their diets? Of course, I'm sure all are great, but what are some of your tops that you want to talk about, like the kale or the different
Well,
broccolis?
okay, well, let's talk about collard greens. Okay.
Okay,
Let's
yes,
talk about collard greens. Okay.
yes.
As they say, soul food is good for the soul. Okay.
Hmm.
And so collard greens are a great source of sulforaphane and all of the other benefits that come with eating cruciferous vegetables. The problem with it is the way we cook it is that we put all that other good stuff in it, like pig feet and ham hocks and all that stuff, which adds to saturated
Fat
fats.
back.
That back, okay. Collard greens, when they did a study, they found out that African Americans were the ones who added all of that stuff to it, but the West Africans don't do that. And so they tend to be healthier in that regard. And so collard greens is one where if you need to cook them, but don't add all of that stuff to them. You have to figure out some good recipes. You could just add some onions and some other, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil if you want to have a little bit of a fat taste, and add all of that. And a little, of course, we ate it with your grandfather would add vinegar and onions and all that kind of stuff to it, which made it really taste good. And then you can
And you
eat your
can add, right, and you can add like smoked paprika, things like
right,
that,
smoked
which will give you
paprika.
some of the smokiness taste that some people like.
And if you have to have your meat, eat the greens first. As we said during the meat eaters, eat the greens first and then introduce it later with some meat, because then you're creating that good bacteria in your microbiome. Okay.
Right.
But there's some other things that cruciferous vegetables do. They lower inflammation, blood sugar, and cholesterol because of the fiber. There's a lot of fiber in them. And so that's how we do it. And so you know how we roll. We make this super kale salad.
Yes.
Kale is sort of this great cruciferous vegetable that has all of those benefits that we just talked about in terms of anti-cancer, good for your heart, good for your gut biome. Because our gut, as we talk about, our gut biome is so efficient that even when we eat meat, it really kind of moves it out. Like we said, we go to the bathroom about 2 or 3 times a day. And so it just helps reduce chronic disease overall. As Dr. Greger says, you have to add that family of vegetables. Now, the other big one for me is arugula.
Yes, arugula. That's what I wanted
Arugula.
you to speak on.
Okay.
Yes.
Arugula is my go-to for my pre-workout. And what arugula does, it also increases the nitric oxide in your blood system. Now, what does nitric oxide do? It increases blood flow, it increases oxygen to your muscles so that you get a better workout, you feel better, etc. And I've actually done a test on it. I did it with a saliva strip where I took a saliva test before I ate my workout salad with arugula. And I eat my arugula with tomato paste, which we talked about in a previous podcast about lycopene. So I eat it prior to my workouts. And what I did was I found that when about an hour to 30 minutes to an hour after I ate the salad, my nitric oxide increased. So my blood flow increased. So there you go with the heart benefit.
And
Okay,
it
that's
helps you with your workout. It gives you
yeah.
more
I have more
stamina, things
oxygen.
like that. Yeah.
I have more oxygen. Now, guys, remember what I said. It increases your blood flow.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that. But
No,
guys,
no,
it
I heard it.
increases your blood flow. That's all I'm gonna
Hey,
say. So
the
eat
ladies will
your
be happy to hear
arugula.
that too.
That's right.
The
Eat
ladies will be
your
happy to hear that.
arugula.
Hmm. So
Eat your
ladies,
arugula.
tell your man, eat that arugula and we have a good time tonight
That's right.
or
And the
during the day,
ladies,
whenever you feel.
ladies,
But
before he eats that steak, put a
oh.
arugula salad in front of him. Okay, so do that. 'Cause arugula is super when it comes to that. And we will show you the difference in my saliva. Now, saliva is not a great way to test nitric oxide because there's some folks that say, well, that doesn't really work. What it does is it tests as a precursor to the nitric oxide. And so, but it is a decent test. And but the bottom line is how you feel after you eat.
Yes, it's all about how you
How
feel.
you feel.
Now, real quick, back to the kale a little bit. Now, we talked about eating cruciferous vegetables, raw versus cooked. I do know some people do both with kale. I know I do. Sometimes I cook it, sometimes I eat it raw. We understand that raw is best to get that sulforaphane. But aren't there like different benefits with kale when it's raw versus cooked? Like, is it
Well, the
with
the main difference is okay, it reduces the amount of vitamin C in it when you cook it, etc. Obviously, it reduces the sulforaphane, but the bottom line is that between the fiber and the overall benefits of kale in terms of your heart health, etc. It is just a super vegetable, and especially on the fiber side, which reduces the inflammation, blood sugar, cholesterol, and all those
right?
things.
But
Okay,
no,
so
that I get, but I thought I heard or read, maybe it's changed, that when you eat raw kale, it more specifically helps maybe with cancer prevention, whereas cooked kale
yes,
may help better with your eyesight. Is that true?
yes, yes.
Okay.
As I
Yes.
said. The sulforaphane is the cancer fighter. Okay.
Right.
So when
Hmm.
if you cook it now, you like I said, we can still get some of that benefit by adding some mustard seed powder. Okay.
Hmm.
To the cooked kale. Okay. But the lutein and the zeaxanthin, which is the ingredients in the green leafy vegetables like kale. We haven't talked about spinach, but we will talk about that at a later date. But that basically goes all the way through your eyes. That helps your eyes, but it also has some brain benefits. We'll talk about that
Right.
in a later podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely correct. It's the lutein and zeaxanthin in the kale, spinach, etc. But especially in kale.
Right. When it's cooked. Okay. So now let's move on to the king or the queen of the cruciferous vegetables, which you were beginning to speak about, which is broccoli sprouts. Let's roll.
Okay, let's roll. Broccoli sprouts. Those are the little stringy things, and I'm quite sure we'll show a picture of it. It's like alfalfa sprouts. It has 30 to 50 times more sulforaphane than regular broccoli, which is the highest among cruciferous vegetables. Now, what they have found was, in fact, when they do the actual cancer studies, they actually pull the sulforaphane out of broccoli sprouts because it's so prevalent in it. Okay. And so what we have found was that we add broccoli sprouts to our smoothies, we add it to our salads, etc., because it's so high in sulforaphane. So if you are someone who is concerned about cancer, you have to add broccoli sprouts to your diet. Now, same principle applies. You add mustard seed powder to broccoli sprouts, and you will get even more sulforaphane. Now, there is an experiment where now most people just aren't going to do this, where you would take some broccoli sprouts and heat it between 150, 140, 150 degrees for 10 minutes and enhance the sulforaphane 3 times as much.
See, now that requires some scientific action.
Right. That's Dr.
Like I'm a
Rhonda Patrick.
right.
That's Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who is an expert on broccoli sprouts. Now, broccoli sprouts, where do you get them? You get them at Whole Foods, you get them at Sprouts, and some of your higher end grocery stores.
Yes.
Now, what about broccoli sprouts or sulforaphane supplements? Uh, the stories, the research kind of varies on that. Uh, where Dr. Greger says it really doesn't work that well, but Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who's an expert on it, has found one supplement here in the United States that she says will work, and that's called Avmacol, Avmacol,
And we'll
Avmacol.
link it below. We'll link it
We'll link
below.
it below. That one, she says, is decent because she says even she is so busy that she doesn't have time she likes to sprout them. She's so busy, so she has to do a supplement every now and then. So that is a consideration. But clearly, if you are a cancer patient, you got to add broccoli sprouts to your diet.
And
And
still
so,
talk to your doctors, but that is
yeah,
what
but still
based
talk to
off of
your
the
doctor.
research. Yes.
The researchers use broccoli sprouts to extract the sulforaphane because it's so prevalent in it.
See,
So we
amazing.
have broccoli sprouts in our salads and in our smoothies.
And I do know that there are broccoli sprout powders on Amazon. I have even bought some. I would put them in my smoothies after I blended my smoothies. I would put the powder like in my glass of an already prepared smoothie. Based off of what you just said about the supplement, do you think that is okay?
It's
Apparently, the way they
okay.
prepared it, yeah, it
Yeah,
is
it's
broccoli
okay.
sprouts. It's just powdered. Yeah,
Yeah, but like Dr. Patrick said, Avmacol is probably the best in that mix. I've seen freeze dried broccoli sprouts. They
right.
probably are okay, but I would be very frank with you. Even with that powder, I probably throw in a little mustard seed powder just to make sure. To be honest with
Mustard in my smoothies just to make it even more
you,
interesting.
hey,
Okay,
you gotta do what you got. Well, but if you put, you know how we
but
how
look, I
we
like
operate.
mustard.
But
Yeah,
if you put, you can make it savory. You can make
right,
a
right.
savory smoothie. If you're gonna
No,
make a
look,
savory
hey,
smoothie.
hey, with the power broccoli sprouts, do it by any means necessary. But
Okay.
but
Okay.
speaking of how we're eating broccoli sprouts, let's real quick talk about different recipes. Obviously, we said we can put it in maybe a smoothie, put it. I would think maybe a good topping for a salad. And I like vegetable sandwiches. You can grill your vegetables or have raw vegetables, and people do this with sandwiches. They put sprouts. Some usually they do alfalfa sprouts, but now maybe add broccoli sprouts.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you just have to find a way to put broccoli sprouts into your diet, period. And
Yes,
always rinse them well. The ones you buy in the store, just rinse them well, and make sure that that they're rinsed well. And then,
they do
like you
taste a
said,
little grassy.
yeah, yeah, they do. I mean,
They
they're
are
sprouts.
grassy.
They
Yeah,
are
they're
sprouts.
sprouts. Yeah,
They're sprouts. But I
yeah.
mean, if the researchers are using it to extract the sulforaphane out of it, it tells you just how much cancer fighting capability it has. And
Now, now,
you have friends with cancer, and that's the first thing I tell them, you got to put some broccoli sprouts in your diet.
before we finish this conversation, can you mention the broccoli sprout juice study that I believe Gregor mentioned when it comes to breasts and it getting into the breast tissue?
Yes, what he found was that they did a study. They did a study with broccoli sprouts, and they basically found that it reduced the breast cancer indicators. What they did is they took some women who were getting ready to have some breast reduction, and they gave them broccoli sprout juice, and then an hour later they measured it. They measured for sulforaphane, and then they measured for the reduction in the breast cancer cells, the indicators of what they call the receptors of those cells in the breast, and I think we'll show that reduction during the podcast. And so that's when they discovered that sulforaphane really does have an effect on breast cancer.
Amazing. So there you have it, benefits with breasts, and men also get breast cancer too. So, but benefits with that. And I know with uterine health, obviously, uh, cruciferous vegetables are absolutely recommended to help women to either slow down the growth of fibroids or to prevent them altogether. So, yes, definitely add cruciferous vegetables to your diet whenever you can. As Dr. Greger says, really add it daily. But that's our show for today. Any other comments you want to make, or are we good?
No, as we're going to keep preaching this, add vegetables to your diet. And you got to start with cruciferous vegetables. I mean, they are the kings and queens of the vegetable plant kingdom. I mean, they are just. I mean, it's just not just broccoli. It's collard greens, etc. As Gregor said, soul food is good for the soul, and people who are eating collard greens. Oh yeah, and collard greens were, by the way, were a staple in the Okinawan women's diet, who are the longest living women in the world. They were eating collard greens.
Wow,
Okay,
amazing.
this is in Okinawa, Japan. They were eating
Yes.
collard greens. So eat your
Hmm.
greens. And I mean, I know a lot of our followers like collard greens. Just prepare them in a way that you're getting the
The
nutrients
full
out of, especially
benefits.
sulforaphane. Right. Add a little
Yes.
bit. There's nothing wrong with adding a little bit of onion and a little bit of mustard seed powder. Add whatever you got to do with it. Make it taste good. Make it taste
Which
good. If
we
you need
know how
that
to
fat,
do.
add extra virgin olive oil.
And there are a lot of great vegan influencers online who have great recipes. One in particular that I enjoy they're called the Ghetto Vegans. They have a good collard greens recipe that's meatless and can give you still all those flavors. Now, before we leave, remember last week I mentioned I would do the hibiscus tea test. I did that. Except with my test, I would eat a fattening breakfast along with hibiscus tea. So pre-hibiscus tea, like pre-breakfast, my average blood pressure was about 122 over 83. I'm doing this based off of memory. If I'm wrong, I'll just put it on the screen. But that was pre-breakfast, pre-hibiscus tea. 2 hours after when I had my breakfast and then hibiscus tea, 2 hours after having my breakfast and hibiscus tea, I measured my blood pressure again, and the average went down 1 point on the systolic side. Am I saying that right? Systolic?
Yeah, systolic is the upper one, and
Yes, the
diabolic,
upper. So it went
diastolic is the
down.
lower.
Right.
Go
It
ahead.
went down one. So I was 121 over 77. So it did go down a little bit. So that's good. More so on the diastolic side. But it did go down. So drink
So
your
all you
hibiscus
folks out
tea.
there eating them bacon and eggs, eat your bacon and eggs, have your coffee, but also drink some hibiscus tea.
Drink hibiscus tea. But one point is normally my diet is not a fattening breakfast. I mean, and just so you know what my breakfast was, it was donuts, which I
Oh
do
God.
like sometimes.
Oh
But
Lord.
but normally I'm eating mostly fruits and vegetables. So that plays a role. So in other words, don't take it as a license that, oh, I can just eat fattening and drink hibiscus tea. No, continue to eat a healthy, overall healthy diet. You could have your
Lead
cheat
with the
day,
veggies.
right? Lead
Lead
with the
with the
veggies,
veggies.
right? Well, thank you so much, you guys, for joining us again. Thank you to all of our subscribers and welcome to all of our new viewers. Please subscribe, please like, please comment, please share. And we really enjoy building this community. Thank you so, so much. Until next time, peace.
Bye.